So let's get to the nitty gritty, man.
Uh-oh.
What type of money we looking at here? And you can range it. We're not trying to be in your pockets, but just in
Yeah,
general.
you ain't going in my pockets, because I think the minimum a teacher can make that I've heard of teachers making is like 4,000 dirham.
Okay, what's that translate
That's
to?
about $1,000. Now, this is not at all schools. This is probably at some of the lower tier schools, the lower tuition schools. What I've noticed is what they try to do is they try to get women into the jobs, right? Now, before anybody jumps on me, they do that because the woman most likely is under her husband's visa.
Okay.
And
So
this is a second income.
Right.
And if they can get away with that, they will do it. Reasonable salaries on the low end, what I've seen, like 8 to 10,000, 12, 14, 15, this is like in the middle where things are not bad.
How are the children and what do you have to prepare for?
With affluence comes its own problems.
Right.
When a kid is in the 5th grade and they already have a car, you know, and that car is more, that car is like triple your salary,
Right.
you know, you're going to have some issues with that kid.
What would you recommend? Here's a person, they say, okay, I'm qualified, I have this, and that. I even have some teaching experience. Now, how do I get the job? Where do I go?
Some of these external agencies, sometimes if you don't really know what's going on the ground, some of these things are scams. Or they'll say, we want this percentage of your salary for this many months, the first year. All of that stuff is actually, I don't believe it's legal.
Get your copy of the Hijrah Handbook at book.makehijrah.com. We go back some time, and ever since I knew you, you've been in education.
Yeah.
And it initially started off in Egypt. We met in Egypt.
Yeah.
And then you came to UAE, and you entered into education here in UAE.
Yes.
So give us some ideas, because this used to be the way in.
And it still is.
Oh, it still is.
It still is.
So tell us a little bit about teaching here, and then we'll go later and talk about like some maybe recommendations or some advice. So what's the market like now compared to maybe 10 years ago?
So the market is not as open as it used to be. Before, this was a gold mine. All you had to do was pretty much be an American.
Right.
And you didn't sound too ghetto. And you could land a job easily. But now we have noticed that they're looking for more qualifications now. And the competition is fierce. You have the brothers from Nigeria, because you know how they come. They come correct.
Right.
You have the brothers and sisters from Kenya. Yeah, they're big. They're big.
And they're competing now.
They're competing big time.
Americans' births?
They're competing with everybody. Because the Kenyans, they have an accent that's understandable, and they have a bit of connection with Britain. They're competing. You have the South Africans. They're competing hard. The Filipino community. Of course.
Passport doesn't matter?
Passport does matter. Passport does help. Passport does help. But the reality is, when it comes to salaries and salary expectations, it is what it is. You know, I don't want to get too much into that. You know, I don't want to make people angry. But the reality is, certain countries will be expecting a certain salary.
Right.
And if the school feels like they can get the same comparable skill for less, that's what they're going to do.
So it is a difference between the salary of an American and the salary of a...
Can be. But UAE has done, I don't know how it is in other countries, but I have noticed that UAE has done a really good job in trying to bridge that gap, especially at some of the better schools. So it is possible that you have an American teacher, a British teacher, a Kenyan teacher, and an Indian teacher all making around the same salary. That is possible, especially at some of the better schools.
Right, and that's based on what? Qualifications?
Based on qualifications and experience. And sometimes who you know.
Right.
So if somebody knows, like for instance, I know you, then I would go to my HR and say, listen, I know a guy that he'd be a great fit for this place. And depending on my reputation in the school, how much they trust me, then they would bring you in on the strength of my word.
Right.
So yeah, a mix of all of that.
Normally, foreigners, they teach in international schools or they can even teach in the governmental school. Tell us, break down the type of schools you have.
Okay, so you have the British schools. Okay, so you have the British schools, you have the American schools, you have few French schools, you have a few Chinese, few Russian. Okay, you have those international schools, then you have the government schools.
Right.
So the government schools now split up into two branches. Some are purely under the government, and then some are semi-government, where you have an external body that's controlling the school. So they will do the hiring, they will do the staffing.
Right.
I'm not sure where the funding's coming from. I would assume the funding is coming from the government.
Right.
But when it comes to like the principals and staff, then that outside organization would be controlling them. So
Right.
with the government schools, you have those two branches.
Right. Right. Those upper level positions, are they normally, who holds them? The Emiratis or?
It depends. So in the government schools, those tend to be for Emiratis, because in the government schools, you're going to have the majority of the students, they're Emiratis. So
Right.
it would make sense that the principals and those people would be locals.
Right.
We have seen a trend though that the local citizens here are moving more into education. So you will find some principals, especially if they own the school.
Okay.
So maybe the owner will push his sons or his daughters
Right.
towards education, get a master's in education leadership, and maybe start them in some position in school, then work their way up to principal.
That has to make a difference because before, many of the foreigners were holding these type of degrees and were qualified for these positions. Or has that been going
It's still there. It's still there. So
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of the British and American schools, especially the upper tier, you will find them still being ran by Westerners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the owners would be Emiratis or do you have like
No,
purely owned,
I think UAE is a very strange, what you think is not.
Right. Okay.
So the largest group of schools here in UAE, GEMS, is owned by an Indian brother. It's owned by an Indian. And this guy, he was smart.
Right.
What he does is he has different tiers of schools.
Right.
He has those for the extremely wealthy,
Right.
those in the middle, and then lower income.
Right.
So he's got the market on lock.
Subhanallah.
He's got the market on lock.
Subhanallah. So some people have taken these type of degrees or went into education for the hustle.
Yeah.
Kind of like this is what's out there. This is what's in demand. So this is the type of education I'm going to get, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to. How much into the future do you think that's going to last? I mean, considering that they're themselves getting educated and.
Until the robots start doing the job.
Okay, so they're always going to need.
Yeah, that's the way I see it now, because education is just one of those things where you need that physical body. You
Right.
need. It's just like that. You just need a person there to do it for now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think that still, even in 20 years, 50 years, that's going to be the model. Finding out what fields, and I think STEM is always going to be in demand.
What would you say the lifespan is or the time span is for a typical teacher? How much time do you have before they say,
Went straight to the difficult
what's
questions.
this career look like? You know what I mean?
So I'll be honest with you, it's not looking great because all over the world we see education. It's not an easy field to be in. It's not an easy field to be in. My personal opinion is that if you don't love it, you're not going to last. And I openly encourage people. And if people are listening to me out there, if you don't like education, get out. Really.
Right.
Because it makes things worse for everybody. So I firmly believe those people who really love it, if you're in it for the love of the career, and I'm not saying that you should not look at money,
Right.
but if money is not the number one reason you're in this field, then I think it will last as long as you keep that interest. But for those who are just looking for a payday,
Right.
brother, it will wear you out quick.
Right.
And I think for those people, 5 years, 7 years, and they will burn out.
So what do they do after that? What type of opportunities are there? I'm talking about the educational field.
I want to tell them to kick rocks, but
Can
I
you,
can't tell them to do.
I mean, are there any opportunities in like language centers or?
Yeah, there have been many people. I know some personal friends of mine that they just did not like the school setting. They did not like that in-school setting, so they moved towards the language centers, and they've been thriving in that field. I know people that moved on to tutoring.
Right.
They just do their own thing. They have their own students, their own time. They do that. I know one guy in particular. This guy left education and went into broadcasting.
Okay.
He went into broadcasting. He's a big guy in the broadcasting world right now.
And UAE?
Yeah. Yeah, in UAE, went into broadcasting.
So
So I've known a few people that left education, and many went into their own thing. Maybe they opened a business, but most of them were burnt out. Like they didn't want nothing to do with education, bro. They were like, that's it. You know, go take an office job. You know, they wanted nothing to do with it.
are you ready to change your life? Are you tired of the chaos, the corruption, and the constant compromise? Then this is your call to action. Hijrah 2025, the first ever global conference dedicated to Muslims in the West seeking a new life in a Muslim country. We're teaming up with the brothers from the Medina Project to put on an event unlike any other before. You'll be able to meet brothers in person that have already made Hijrah and have been able to sustain it and have success. If you're serious about Hijrah, this is your chance to move from theory to action. You will learn from those who have already made the move, discover the best countries for relocation, get practical guidance on residency, housing, schooling, work, business, and much more. Whether you have a family, you're a student, retiree, a digital nomad, a businessman, this is your moment. This conference is taking place from August 27th to August 31st in Medina, KSA. Space is limited, so don't miss your chance to be a part of this life-changing event. This is more than just a conference. It's a networking hub connecting future Muhajirun to those who have already paved the way. It's a space for country-specific insight, real-life advice, and services. Set in the city of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Hijrah is not just an event, it's a revival of the prophetic spirit of migration, purpose, and brotherhood. To register for Hijrah, click the link in the description below and use the code MAKEHIJRAH for a 50% discount. See you there, inshallah. I want to ask you, man, because tutoring in Egypt is part of it. That's part of education there. And even people plan it that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes they teach just a little bit so they can get more tutoring on the back end.
Yeah.
What's the tutoring culture here like?
You can't do that here. Yeah, you can't do that here. Not if you want to stay out of prison. You can't do that here.
Right.
Yeah. So tutoring is a thing here, but because people here are a bit more affluent, it is a supplement.
Okay.
You know,
that's what it's supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
So here it tends to be a supplement to the learning.
Right.
If it is found that you're, sandbagging in a classroom just so that you can stack up your students on the side, you're going to be let go. And generally, schools have a policy where you're not allowed to tutor your own students. You're not allowed, if you work in the school, you can't tutor students in this school.
Right.
So that's generally how it is to kind of keep that idea from even occurring.
Yeah, that's really technically how it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be that way.
Yeah. So, I mean, in your experience, have your students been mainly Emirati students or just?
There has only been one time where my students were purely Emiratis, and that's when I worked for a government institution. Okay. And it was geared towards bringing in Emirati students. But every other time, it would either be half local, or maybe 40%, 20%, some kind of admixture of that.
Now, a lot of people don't know, but dealing with certain children can be challenging, right? And it varies from country to country. So I know for a fact in Egypt, you can find some really wild situations.
Oh yeah, I was at some.
So what about, I asked you that on purpose because are Emirati children different than other children, or a mix of them is, how are the children and what do you have to prepare for?
For me, I've been blessed. I'm gonna straight up tell you. Maybe I'm the wrong guy to bring on the podcast, but I have been blessed because my students have been amazing. The students I've had even if they were weak, They were generally well behaved.
Okay.
You know, when I look at what's going on in America and England
Right.
and some of the situations I had in other countries,
Right.
the students are rather well behaved. You know, you do have some issues. You know, you have some issues sometimes with affluence comes its own problems.
Right.
You know, when a kid is in the 5th grade and they already have a car, you know, and that car is that car is like triple your salary.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have some issues with that kid,
Right.
but they're still workable. You know,
Right.
I've in my experience, I've been blessed. Now I've heard other things from other teachers that had other situations where, you know, the entitlement is a very big problem. The rudeness has been, but I am also like, I'm a big dude. So just the size sometimes is a bit intimidating to somebody to even think of being rude with me.
Right.
And my demeanor sometimes does not allow that. Right. But yeah, that can be a problem. You know, the attitudes. Another big problem is motivation. Motivation. And this is not just limited to the locals. Whenever, again, affluency does have its problems.
Right.
So when a child knows that I'm going to inherit my father's business,
Right.
and it's a multi-million-dollar business, brother, it's hard to convince that kid to do this homework.
Right. Or that even matters, huh?
Yeah, because he'll tell you.
Right.
He will tell you. I've had kids tell me, I don't need this.
Right.
You know, at that young age, tell me, I don't need this. I'm going to be a this. My father has a big company.
Right.
You know? So your job at that point is to find some way to convince them that, nah, you do need this.
Right.
You do need this. You know, the business is not going to run itself on ignorance.
Right.
So you do need this. So those are the challenges that I saw, you know, but to be honest, you know, I've been blessed. I've had pretty good students. Only a handful of issues that were, you know, something to write home about.
Right.
But for the most part, man, I've been blessed.
I want to ask you something about the States. Did you teach in the States?
I taught at university for 1 semester.
Okay, so that's different. Okay. So there's another issue that people don't consider because they probably haven't experienced it, and that's parents. Parents that say, "Why did he get this B plus?" You know, what I don't know how the grade system goes there, but do you have to deal with that?
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's a very difficult to navigate, man, because I hate to say it, in some circles, it is expected that a certain outcome happens because I've paid.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So you do have that. In UAE, for me, how can I be diplomatic about this? Knowing that there's going to be a certain expectation, then you have to cover your bases. You have to make sure that you've done all that you can to make sure that this kid gets to at least this point.
Right.
Right. So I've been blessed, man. I've worked in schools where they understand that parents are going to come with that. And you will have parents actually say that all the money I paid and my son only makes a C. I've had schools, your son only got a C. However, this is what we can do next time to make sure that he does better.
Right.
So I've been blessed. Again, I keep saying this. I've been blessed. But yeah, man, because I've worked in I've heard of people working in schools where nobody gets less than an A. Everybody is getting an A.
So the school supports you then in your decision as a C.
Yeah.
Because the school can say, "Hey, man, give him an A," or change it even.
Yes.
So you didn't experience that, huh?
I mean, I've had situations where it was strongly suggested to me that, you know, it would be in everybody's best interest if this failing grade was not a failing grade. But I understand where they're coming from, because people see a school, but it's a business. And you need to keep your customers happy.
Right.
So I've pushed back in that situation and said, well, If you're strongly suggesting it to me, then I strongly suggest that that child come and take a test. And if he can pass, and I don't mind, I will give him 2 weeks of support.
Right.
And if he passes this test, then it will not be a failing grade. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to give him an A, but it will not be a failing grade.
Right.
So you kind of have to compromise, because in the end, it's not about penalizing the child. It's not about I'm sticking to the stance and nobody's going to change me. It's about the child.
Right.
So if that child can actually show me that, okay, I have learned something, I can learn something, then what's the point in trying to hold him back?
Right. So let's get to the nitty gritty, man.
Uh-oh.
So what type of money we looking at here? And you can range it. We're not trying to be in your pockets, but just in
Yeah,
general.
you ain't going in my pockets, because ain't no, not going to be there.
So what are we looking at range wise? Like entry level, let's start entry level person. Come
See,
in.
here's the thing, right? There's no fixed scale. There's no, I can tell you, like, I think the minimum a teacher can make that I've heard of teachers making is like 4,000 dirham.
Okay, what's that translate
That's
to?
about $1,000.
Okay.
Maybe
Is
a
that
little bit more
good
than
or
1,000.
bad?
That's
So that's for what, a single guy? Like, can a single guy survive on that?
no.
So how is he?
Well, yeah, there you go.
He got to get a second job or what?
There you
How
go.
does that work?
So what they try to do is, boy, and I hope people don't come at me. I hope they don't come at me, but I am the person. I am the person that I am. What I've noticed is what they try to do is they try to get women into the jobs, right? Now, before anybody jumps on me, they do that because the woman most likely is under her husband's visa.
Okay.
And
So
this is a second income.
Right.
And if they can get away with that, they will do it. If they can get away with it, they will do it. Now, this is not at all schools. This is probably at some of the lower tier schools, the lower tuition schools, that you'll find them trying to do this. But I think reasonable salaries on the low end, what I've seen, like 8,000 to 10,000.
Okay, so that's like double.
Yeah,
Right.
8,000 to 10,000. You could manage,
Right.
but that's still on the low end. 12, 14, 15. This is like in the middle where things are not bad.
All right, give me a dollar figure for
Man, come on,
both
man.
those
This
tiers.
is- I've been out the States for
You're
so
a math
long.
teacher, right?
Yeah, but man, I don't deal with no dollars, man. I don't want to think. Don't do that to me. I'm thinking dollars, man. But the middle, that's the middle range, and there's some people that do very well. There's some, they're doing 20,000, 24,000.
Right.
That's doing very well. You can live very well on that kind of salary.
So what kind of credentials are we talking about? Credentials and experience.
So credentials, you would have to have bachelor's, of course.
Okay.
And most people, that's what they're coming in as. They're coming in with bachelor's. So what they prefer is that you have a bachelor's in the subject that you're teaching.
Right.
So if you want to teach English, they would prefer that you have a bachelor's in English.
Right.
Teacher certification also is a plus. Experience, generally they will tell you they want 2 years experience,
Okay.
right? But you have to start somewhere.
Right.
So all of these things, when they put out the and this is to encourage anybody out there that's seeing ads online for LinkedIn, all of these things that they want, these are all suggestions.
Right.
They're all suggestions. Nothing set in stone.
Right.
So you still put your resume forward. You still do the interview
Right.
and see what happens from there.
Right.
So they may say, yeah, we want 2 years experience, but that interview you do with them and your teacher demo might impress them.
Right.
At 2 years experience, we don't need that no more. Just come on in.
Right. So they should still try.
Yeah, you should definitely still try.
Are you thinking of teaching abroad in the Muslim world, but you don't have any idea where to start? Stop guessing and get the complete roadmap. Our step-by-step course shows you how to land a high-paying job with the benefits you desire, inshallah. Learn to navigate new cultures with confidence, master your classroom, and avoid the common pitfalls and scams. This isn't just theory. It's a practical playbook from an experienced educator, Brother Aziz Abu Saleh, and he helps you make the journey to success. Your new life is waiting. Click the link to enroll in the Muhajir's Guide to Teaching Abroad. So that brings me to How do I get a job? Where are the jobs listed these days? Because before, I don't know if it still happens, the fairs and these type of things, or
They still do that.
these recruitment services. So what would you recommend? Here's a person, they say, okay, I'm qualified, I have this and that. I even have some teaching experience. Now, how do I get the job? Where do I go?
My number one place is LinkedIn,
Okay.
right? I say LinkedIn because some of these external agencies, sometimes if you don't really know what's going on the ground, some of these things are scams. You know, some of them, they try to beat you out of some money. They'll get you to pay, or they'll say, we want this percentage of your salary for this many months, the first year. All of that stuff is actually, I don't believe is legal. You know, so there are a few legit agencies out there. They slip my mind right now, but there are very few. But the ones that are legit, they're legit.
Right.
LinkedIn, number one place.
Does the school itself post or what?
Schools post, different agencies post on behalf of the school.
Right.
I prefer that you look at the schools, look for the HR posting a position, and then people within the organization reposting.
Right.
That's the best thing.
Right.
Also, why I like LinkedIn is because you can directly reach out to somebody in that school.
Right.
You can try to find out more information, see if you're a good fit.
Right.
So this has been my approach, and I see a lot of people using this.
This was successful for you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. LinkedIn's the place. LinkedIn's the place.
The schools.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're in the States somewhere, you're like, I don't know no schools. I don't know names of no schools there. So, I mean, would you say you can just Google like schools in UAE?
Yeah.
All right. And then get a list?
Listen, UAE, one thing about this place is that people market. People market.
Right.
So these schools, they want to get their name out there. So you can do a quick Google search. You could, like, whenever I was in the market for looking for a job, I would just go to Google, type schools in Sharjah. Boom, the list will come up.
Right.
And I would just go one by one, go to them, go to them, go to them, go to them, go to them.
Right.
You know, try to see who I know in those schools. Go to LinkedIn, see if I can, you know, contact somebody, friend them, do something.
Right.
But yeah, definitely every school, if the school is worth its salt, if it's actually worth working there, they're going to be on Google.
So,
and LinkedIn.
You mentioned earlier about,
and I'm not getting paid by LinkedIn to keep saying this. So,
no. So look. Okay, bam. That's part of the problem. It's starting to make sense to me now. I go and I look for the schools, check to see if they're on LinkedIn, and then do I just start asking, do they have jobs available?
No,
or should it
send a
just
resume.
be there? Or just send a resume right
Send
away?
a resume.
Okay, so you mentioned something before, man. So let's say you at the school. You say, I have a friend, and referrals.
That's the number one way to get a job.
So that's the best way.
That's the best way.
So if you taught there for some time and they like you and they trust you and everything, and then
they want more of you.
Right, gotcha.
Right? They want more of you or something like you.
Gotcha.
So they know that if you're coming from, and that's another good thing about UAE, like when you're in a school for so long, you kind of start taking on the ethos of that school.
Right.
So when you come out, people can know, like, oh, he's from so-and-so, he's from this. They know what you're coming with.
Right.
So they want more of that.
Right.
So when you tell somebody, like, yeah, I know a guy.
Right.
When they say we need people, oh, I know a guy.
Right.
First thing they say, send me the resume.
Right.
Send me the resume.
Right.
So definitely, and we call there's a term for that here. Wasta.
A Wasta. Now,
Wasta.
you've been around, you've been doing this for years, and in your own right, you're an expert, whether you want to accept it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so you started a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And if you could correct me if I'm wrong, it's like from teacher to Murabbi.
Yes.
Is that right? So can you explain the concept? Because some people will say, what's that? What do you mean by that? Like, what's the relationship between being a teacher and a Murabbi?
Yeah.
So break it down for us, man.
So the YouTube channel, motivation. I'm really about motivating people, being positive, uplifting people. The podcast from teacher to Murabbi is because something was said to me. I was going for a position in leadership. And the principal, I'd known the principal for a very long time. And the principal looked at me and said, are you sure you want to do this? Because you are more of a Murabbi. And that's the first time the idea came to my mind, because the principal said, you are very good with encouraging the students, and you're very good in motivating them, and you're very good in keeping their attention.
Right.
And that's when it struck me that, yeah, that's actually what I've been doing. So since then, I've been very conscious about that term, Murabbi.
Right.
And I've been trying to get my other teachers to look at themselves in the same way, that we're not just here just to teach them math and science and all these other academic topics.
Right.
We're there to raise a person. And part of that is their spiritual well-being.
Right.
Part of that is giving them courage, giving them a very positive outlook on life.
Right.
And then going even further from their Islamic point of view, we want them to be good Muslim citizens.
Right. Right.
And the only way that you can do that is to try to model it for them.
Right. Right.
So this is now my mission.
Right.
This is my mission to try to encourage other teachers to look at themselves in that way, because there are many teachers who are doing it.
Right.
There are, as a matter of fact, I've learned from those teachers.
Right.
But I don't think many people consciously look at themselves in that light. They just see themselves as a teacher. I'm just teaching.
Right.
But a lot of times you're doing more than that, because we've had students come back to us, that are 26, 27 now. And, one kid had me crying the other day, like maybe 4 Ramadans ago. I got a random call out of nowhere.
Right.
And this kid said, teacher, you said something when I was in grade 7. And you told us about the Salaf al-Salih. And at the time I had no idea what you were talking about. But as I got older, I looked into it, and he was like, I want to thank you for that. Bro, I broke down crying on the phone, man. You're a big, tough guy like me, man. I was crying. Because, you don't, when you're in the classroom, you don't think about the things that you say, whether positive or negative, that can have the good influence or the bad influence.
Right.
I don't remember, saying that to him, but he remembered.
Right.
He remembered.
No.
The fact that a child, 10 years later would remember that you said this one thing to me and it changed my life for the better. Oh man, I was bawling.
That's a very important point, because children tend to spend the most time there.
Yeah.
And then parents are busy, father working all, 12 hours, whatever is happening. And sometimes they don't even have time to do nothing but say goodnight to the child. So they're spending the majority of their time there in the school. And if people take this approach, then people should feel more comfortable.
Exactly. That's my point.
No.
That's my point, that as a teacher, it isn't a manna.
No.
A lot of people say that. That term, amana, just becomes nothing.
Right.
Unless you really implement it.
No.
So if you see that, the majority of my time or this child's time is spent here in the school, what can we do to make this child an upright citizen?
Right.
What can we do to help the parent? Because, there's some parents, and we notice, mashallah, there's some fathers out there that are really working. Right. International businesses, flying back and forth, to provide for his family. Right. And they will tell you, I'm away for 2 months. Right. Or 3 months. And the mom is there. She has 4 or 5 kids. She's got her handful. Right. So what can I do to help this family? What can I do to help the society? That's really how I feel about it. That's serious right there. In my mind, I go so far as to say, like, teachers are somewhat like the army. They're somewhat like the police force. Somebody has to do it. It's something that most people don't want to do because of the difficulty involved. No. But somebody has to do it. And those people who are doing it have to be motivated. And it contributes to society.
Bro, I remember sometimes seeing teachers standing outside of the classroom, like waiting for the bell to ring, so the kids in there just hopping on the desk and playing soccer and whatever they're doing, right?
Not my class.
No, I know you hold it down. You got a reputation. But I'm saying, like, does the parent know? Do you get what I mean? It's like, okay, you just waiting for the time to go past. Instead of having this type of mentality, like, this
sometimes
is
they do. Sometimes they do. Unfortunately, sometimes some parents know that. And a student in grade 4 said this to me the other day. He was like, yes, I know most teachers are just here to collect they're just here to collect the salary. So if a grade 4 kid knows this,
that's a deep statement from a 4-year-old.
And I had to tell him, no, son, not all teachers, not all teachers are like this. Right. But there are some parents that know that this is just a daycare.
That's bad.
It's bad, but there, if you think about it from their point of view, what else are they gonna do?
We need good teachers.
Yeah.
We need good teachers. Yeah, I highly encourage you, and you know that, man. I encourage you to, man, like stick with it.
Sure.
And, in the beginning, it's hard. In the beginning, it's not as many people, not many views or what have you. But people need to understand it from this perspective. People want to jump in this field to get the money and be over here and this, that, and not take that job. It's like you said in Atlanta, because I'm putting my kids in your care while I go do this. So I'm focused here. You should be focused there.
Exactly.
But,
And I do encourage people to try, I encourage people that, yes, I know the optics of education right now doesn't look good. When you see on the news in America, they're saying there's a teacher shortage and there's a this and there's a that. I will say, just remember the society is not going to be built by one or two people. It takes the society to build a society. So we need some people that are going to make that sacrifice. And I know some people like, that sounds crazy. Why has it got to be me? But the same way that there's some people that say, I'm going to enlist in the military for the protection of my country. There's some people that say, I'm going to work for the police force. I'm going to, drive in the ambulances. These are sometimes positions that people don't want to do because of the difficulty involved, the stress involved. But somebody has to do it, and our society needs those things. And if you feel that you have the ability, you have the drive, especially if you have love for children, come on over to teaching. But I will also say, dumb people who don't like children, please stay away.
It's not the right.
Stay at home. Go do something else.
So let's wrap it up with some advice. Like, so you have people that are teaching, obviously, and some been teaching for years. What is your advice to those teachers? And maybe you can give some inspiration, like to keep them going. The ones that are like, you know what, after this year, I'm out of here. So, I mean, what inspiration can you give? Like,
I would say, first of all, you don't know the impact that you've had. You might think that you've been wasting your time. You might think that nobody's listening to you. You might think that you're spinning your wheels. You don't know the impact you have. Like I told you, a kid called me 10 years later and just told me, this one thing that you said changed my life. I've had multiple calls like this. I've had, kids reaching out to me on social media. This is why I'm so aggressive about this issue now. Because I know the impact I've had on those few students. And those are the ones that have reached out to me. Right. And I've seen it with other students. Sometimes the students come back and they gather their teachers together and they all collectively say, you did this, you did this. So you don't know your impact. So don't look at right now. And it's okay. It is okay to feel bad sometimes. It is okay to feel sad. It's part of the job. But you have to find something that is going to remind you of why you're doing this. Now, some people, they need to step out. I had to do that. I had to do that. I was done with teaching for a minute. No, dead serious. I was done. I even used to tell people, don't call me a teacher. I was done. It took me just some time to step out and reevaluate. To see that, no, this is my thing. This is who I am. I tried to hide from it. But it's okay to step out sometimes. And maybe you need that time to look and see okay, maybe it doesn't look so good on the other side. Maybe you discover that, no, this is my passion. So that'd be my advice. First of all, the society needs you. You don't know your impact. And it's okay sometimes to feel down. Take a step out and look around. Most likely you will come back.